Hi, it's Carolina. Welcome to Beyond the Throttle. And I am so excited that people step up and say hi and stop and say hi.
That's what happens at these shows. That's the purpose.
I know. So introduce yourselves and give me your Instagram handles.
Okay. Big Truth from Boston, Massachusetts. Owner of Choppa Head Custom Cycles, which is at Choppa Head on Instagram, and Choppa Head Customs on Facebook. Big Truth Podcast at Big Truth on Instagram, and Choppa Head TV, which is on Tubi and coming on. We're gonna let it come out on YouTube if they don't censor me. But right now it's on Tubi, and that's at Choppa Head TV.
That's awesome.
My name is Kenny. I work at Choppa Head.
Hi, Kenny.
I've been taking photos for like the last 10 years. You could get me at KenDogNYC on Instagram or Ken_Adams_photography
Awesome.
on IG.
Yeah, thank you so much for stepping out. I'm like, we were like talking outside. I'm like, I want to learn more. And also like right here. So when was the first time that you ever rode a motorcycle and then you were like, this is it, I'm hooked?
Rode a motorcycle or got hooked on motorcycles?
Both.
So the first time when I was a kid, and I know it's a common story, but it's a true story and it happens to a lot of people. When I was a kid, I remember me and my father were driving, and this is probably late 70s, and crew, like an MC rides by, but back when they all still rode choppers, it wasn't like the new club bike style. It was everyone, they were all on these like clapped out, ragged, fucking badass choppers, and I was looking, I was like, and all I knew is it resonated. I was like,
I want that.
Fucking that. I don't know what it is, but that's what I'm gonna do. And then I didn't really get into bikes. I ended up getting into music and doing a lot of music stuff, and then got into bikes later, late 90s. And the first bike I got was all I could afford was a Suzuki Savage.
I love it.
just to get on two wheels. And then I was like, I wasn't really into the bike because in my head I had vision of a cool motorcycle was a chopper, but I didn't know enough yet. I was still green, so I thought, I was like, this isn't it. This isn't the thing. And then and at the late 90s, choppers were kind of phased out. They weren't as popular as they are yet. A couple years later, the TV show started coming out and everything changed. But at that point, it was still kind of way more underground. And then I realized, I was like, no, that's all custom shit. And my buddy Jay, who later became a business partner of mine, was like, he got his father's old chopper from the 70s. It was in his uncle's attic. And I was like, that's what I'm talking about. And then, so I think I had that Suzuki Savage for maybe 2 months, 3 months. And then I built a 1964 Triumph chopper.
Oh,
like 12 out Springer, coffin tank, all that, full idiot machine. But I lived in Dorchester in South Boston, and it was super dangerous, no front brake, being on the highway doing 85, but it was a 650. I'm not a small guy. I was like clapping it out, like the spring is bouncing like around corners, and I'm like, just let me make it home. Like, this is the best thing ever. And then
I promise I will not do it again. Just let me get home.
And then basically that changed the course of my life. Like, I fell in love with choppers, and I used to work regular full-time job, had a degree, worked in a professional position as an anthropologist, and was like, nope.
No, seriously?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
That is so
absolutely.
fucking awesome.
Yeah.
That's why you were like digging stuff and...
No, that's archaeology. That's the same science, but that's dead people. We studied live people.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
He did not see that pill.
No, but
So how is like that? So like that very first chopper, you built it yourself with your own hands?
I did some stuff. So this is how I started a business. I was green. I didn't know what I was doing. So I did some stuff, whatever I could handle. I didn't know a lot of motor stuff, so I gave that to a guy to do it. And then when I got the bill and everything came back, I was like, fuck, I can't do this. I was like, I got to learn all this shit myself.
Yep.
And that's what I did, and just found, you find people that teach you shit. Like this is,
Same.
I'm dating myself. This is late 90s, you know, internet wasn't what it is.
There was no YouTube University.
Yeah, there was no, there was no YouTube, there was no Facebook, there was none of that. So you had to be at places. I'd go to bike shows.
Yeah.
I met guys like locally that met these two old guys, Jerry and Ken. Jerry, rest in peace, just died this year. And they were two older guys from South Boston. One was an old club guy. And they kind of brought me in they let me rent a space in their garage and they started showing me shit. And that's how it used to be done. Like you were the kid, you were an idiot. Like you helped them clean up the shop. You helped them do what you had to do. You paid your dues, you know, like, oh, you want your bike clean? I'll help you out, dude. Thank you. Like, help me wire this, you know? And that's what we did. And they brought me under their wing. And then there was a guy, Jim Burney, who's also passed away, rest in peace. He was in New Hampshire. He was a bike builder. He specialized in British bikes. And that's what I did at the time. Like when we started, and at that time, my buddy Jay became my business partner. We started with Triumphs because that's what we could afford. Yeah. And it was cool. But like, that was like the punk rock of choppers at the time. Cause you know, you could buy one for $400, $500 and then do what you want with it. At a time where you couldn't get into a shovel head, you know, under $8,000, $9,000. And that was 20 something years ago. So we started with those and they're just too small for me. And later, and I was always like Harleys and shit, but yeah, that's really how it started. It's like older guys showing you the ropes, teaching you the right way to do things. Not only like how to actually physically, like especially Jim, because he had a motorcycle shop, was Bernier Vintage Cycles. And Don Hutchinson too was a old chopper builder since the 60s. He's still building bikes in Massachusetts. He showed us a lot of things. He was the one who did my motor for me, and I got the bill. I was like, all right, I can't pay you to do this anymore.
Love you, but
you're awesome. But yeah, I can't. I just don't have it, and like that to pay someone else to do it. So it was out of necessity, but also out of love. Like I gravitated more to the fabrication end of things, and at the time, my partner was more into the mechanical end of things. So it worked out good. So we had an assembly line going. I'd stop building the chassis and stuff, and then he'd build the motors and. We both worked on final assembly and stuff, but
that is so cool. I love that. I love like the collaborations because at the end of the day, we're all like peers. Yeah. And like all the people that I have, like I work at shops and like that somebody will take the time to come and teach you something and be like, hey, you want to learn something? And then you go like, hell yeah. And then it's like, okay, you open that and you do that and then you grind that and then you're just like, I'm mesmerized by like the fact that there's a piece of metal and then we can convert it into something like badass and ride it.
Oh, no, absolutely. Yeah. But what I liked was the process too, because it was old school. It was like you had to be around for a while until they were like trusted you enough to bring you into their place. And then they started, it was like they tested you. Yes. And then once you proved yourself worthy of learning something else and like, all right, well,
that was my first job that I started working. I was like cleaning bathrooms, like
doing whatever it took,
like listening to whatever they were saying, and they were like, okay, you can come, and I was like,
absolutely. That's the coolest shit, and it's kind of gone now. And I get like it's cool to have the convenience of being able to type in how do I clean this carburetor, and there's 4,000 people that posted a video on how to clean that exact carburetor. But there's something to be said about like doing some shit in person and paying dues and coming up that way, the more traditional way. I think you get more out of it. But he also taught me more how to operate a business, or when to go into business for yourself and not quit your day job and things like that.
Like
that's
do like
important.
A process in between, like slowly facing down from both, you know.
Yeah. And how to deal with
people.
Yeah, it's the worst part of it. Like I tell Ken,
How do you guys got into doing your thing to, you know, like you working with him, or like how do you meet? Like how was it? And you take pictures of his bikes too, or? I have in the past.
Yeah. So I mean, I'll do a quick thing and then I'll give the mic. But we've been friends for years, just through motorcycle shows, mutual friends, Northeast. He's originally from New York, from Boston. We should hate each other, but doesn't. But we're not.
Yeah. Oh my God! Look at that.
But we're not on sports teams, so it doesn't matter. Like, you know what I mean? But.
Before badass, right?
Motorcycles, great equalizer, brings everyone together. Not as it separates, but you know.
Of course,
But yeah, so we were friends for years, and then he can tell the whole story. He ended up moving to Boston or Massachusetts, and when he came, he was like, "Hey, I'm gonna start hanging out at the shop." I'm like, "Fuck yeah, man!" And I don't only just let anyone in, but like we had already had an established history, mutual friends, in a world where word is bond, and having someone's word and back means something. That's something I feel that's a little lost today, but I still come from a time where that meant something. So it was like instant in.
Same.
Yeah,
like,
we
my
hung
word
out
is
at
my
plenty of
bond,
shows.
and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
like if I go through whatever, what I say is what I do. What I do is what I say.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Same.
So
Yeah, I met Truth. What? Gotta be 15 years ago, something like that.
Oh, no
Maybe
way.
a little longer. Yeah.
Wow.
But I'm sort of saying not the
So
not
you
the.
kicked out of the Brooklyn Invitation.
What
How come did you get kicked out?
Well, maybe after another drink we'll tell that story. But
One more.
More wild when we were younger.
it's sort of the same thing. Like when I was a kid, I saw a crew roll by, and I was like, "That's fucking cool." Like, But I didn't start riding motorcycles probably until I was like 20 or 21. I was gifted a CB 750. My buddy's brother-in-law was like,
What a cool
"If you
gift.
come pick it up, you could have it." He's like,
No.
it's not operating, whatever. Like, clean the carbs, and like it turned over. It was a 1980 CB 750.
Well, that kind of made you like wrench on it
Yeah, and then
like,
I
learn.
rode that for like maybe a year or two, and it definitely died. And I was like, all right, I need
Next.
something.
That
I
is-
rode sporties and banged around, and then my buddies in Long Island, when I met Big Nick, and then I met Big Truth, and then my buddy Jay, my buddy Craig, who live in Long Island, they built a shovel head for me,
That's awesome.
which is like, well, I never should have sold it, but yeah.
What do you guys currently ride?
I have a 2004 Dyna Lowrider. He's got too many.
Like, do you have
I
time?
got a 1956 panhead, a 1957 panhead trike, a 1979 shovelhead.
Can I come and ride?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
A 2004 Night Train, 2021 Pan America.
Oh, how do you like that one?
When it runs, it's fucking awesome. When it shits out at 300 miles after I tow it across the fucking country, it's a different story. Yeah, Harley's in the building.
Shut up.
Yeah, come talk to me about your Pan America. And, I fell in love with the platform of
Yes.
the bike. Whenever you buy a brand new platform, you
Yeah.
know there's going to be some issues. I just had a sore spot because I brought it across the country for a memorial run for my best friend that died.
Wow.
And then the bike glitched out. All computer shit that there's nothing
Oh, no way.
I could do. But
It's probably
Par
the
for the
one
course.
in all that doesn't work. It's just yeah.
So anyway, awesome bike. It was fun.
Yeah.
The 400 or 500 miles I rode it. We'll see what happens in spring.
I know. I hope that gets fixed.
Yeah, no, I will.
But
We'll figure
which
it out.
one is like your daily rider?
The Night Train.
Really?
Yeah, because the Pan America is my brand new
My
bike,
most-
which is my most undependable bike.
I really want the new like lowrider, like the.
Well, I saw the Lowrider S with the FL, the FXR
Yes.
fairing, and I was like,
I
maybe
want
I'm going to
that.
train this Pan America in for
I
that.
actually, I'm like, I want that. Like, I've been like, literally every night I go and see the black one, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna get you.
I like the gray, the battleship, the slate battleship gray one.
I
I have not seen one in person yet.
I think there's one upstairs. No?
The one they have upstairs is the bagger.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah, it's
didn't
like it's
see.
the road-
Yeah,
the road
I,
glide, I
I,
think.
I saw from far away, and I didn't even. So I just saw like a little gray area. So
But yeah, so we're broadcasting live from the Mama Tried show. So
dude.
respect to Warren and Scott and everybody.
Thank you so
And,
much
thanks
for having us.
Yeah,
I
providing
know.
this venue. Yeah.
But how did the Big Truth happen? Like so.
Podcast? Or?
Yes, the podcast and then the show.
So in
The
2003, we started. This is when people still made videos and DVDs.
Uh-huh.
We started a DVD series called Choppa Head Presents. What was it? Mayhem Machines and Chopper Animals. And, there was 4 volumes to it, and it was like a video magazine, like set up like an old skateboard video.
Nice.
So we would have like segments on different people that built their home builders, people that built their bikes in their garage or their apartment, and then featured some small shops, and then featured events. And those did really well. And I still get people ordering the DVDs. I'm like, I don't
way.
know who watches
People
the
watch
DVD.
DVDs?
Respect, I'm not knocking you. Like, I don't even have a DVD
I'm gonna
player.
order one just for like
I'll just send them. I'll send
for
them.
nostalgia.
Yeah. So anyway, so we did that DVD series from 2003 to 2014, which just kind of documented basically this scene, the scene that that Mama Tried kind of is part of and caters to, and those did really well. And then And so originally, I think they're still on Amazon Prime, and they were for sale, and then they hit me up saying, "Hey, we want to do something else," and I was like, "Well, I'm not going to make another DVD. That's kind of stupid to do." So they were like, "Why don't you do a show, like 22-minute episodes, standard format? Do a show like just broken down version of that." And so that's what we did. And originally it was going to be slated for Amazon. Some issues came up with paperwork stuff, whatever. And then now it's on Tubi, which is, if no one, I'm not a cheerleader. I have no stake in Tubi whatsoever, but it's a free version of, it's like Netflix, but it's free. It's one of those apps that you can download. And they have every old 60s Roger Corman biker movie.
No way.
So they have all kinds of rad old shit on it and all kinds of weird occult movies or horror movies and shit like that. So
I'm gonna check it out.
So it's
sure.
cool. So you can download it free. You might have to watch a commercial or two. Nothing major. And they have all kinds of cool content. Like Zach from Choppa Town. Shout out to Zach. He does a lot of our distributing on the video and the media stuff.
That's
and
awesome.
He has all his stuff up on there and so we're going to bring it over to YouTube as well, but we had to kind of give it to Tubi exclusive for a while.
Yeah.
And now that's running out. And so we'll put it on YouTube because I know we got a lot of European friends and fans that have been yelling at us because they can't get Tubi in Europe for some reason. So it's coming on YouTube. Slowly it'll be rolling out. I think
that's so exciting though.
So there's only one season out right now. And, but that's how that came up. And then the podcast just came up because I used to be a radio DJ. I've been very involved in music my whole life. And that's really the other kind of track that led into motorcycles for me because I grew up, I was in like punk rock and hardcore scenes.
Were you playing music?
Oh yeah.
No,
I was in bands and all of that. And I still got a band now.
What's the name of the band?
American War Machine. It's me and members of Slapshot, Blood for Blood, Agnostic Front, and things like that. But it's a hardcore band based out of Boston. But that track, like punk rock was loud, fast, metal, hardcore was loud, fast, dangerous, antisocial. I grew up in those scenes with that and skateboarding and all that. And at a time when you had to fight because you were into that, it wasn't cool like it is now. It's like part of the fabric and everyone's like,
it's more mainstream than what it used to be.
But society's different now. Everything's more chill now. When we were kids, everyone wanted to fight you because of the, they'd be like faggot, stuff like that. You know what I mean? Skate rat, blah, blah, blah. So I learned how to fight at a young age too, right?
Skating is fun.
And I'm not, but you learn that a skateboard truck is a very formidable weapon.
I know.
Yeah. So anyway, but that was Choppers at that time was the next step because it was loud, fast, dangerous, and then like had anti-social as fuck back then, and then had a do-it-yourself ethic that punk rock had because back then you're building your own bike, you're executing your own vision, doing it your own way, and you might not have all the parts you need, but you trade for them and you barter with this guy or go to swap meets and find that. Like I said, this is early days dating myself. There was no internet online trading and stuff like that yet. So you had to be at places and meet people and network and find stuff. And the hunt was always part of the cool part.
That's fun.
Oh shit, I found this old Roth air cleaner from the 60s, blah, 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 being all excited about stuff. So I love that. And so that's what led into that. And so during COVID, I was bored and I was like, let's start up a podcast. A friend of mine, Ian, had always said I should do one because I used to be a radio DJ and stuff back in the day too. And I always thought of a podcast as one person just sitting there talking and ranting about shit. I was like, I got nothing to say,
I can rant.
No, I was like, no, I don't want to do that. And then I started listening to different ones and I was like, oh no, you can just hang out with people and interview. And so I started that and it's a lot mostly centered on motorcycles and music because that's where all my friends are. And then some weirdness as well, like and
the UFO
guys and psychedelic scientists and whatever.
I mean, we all kind of like are glued by motorcycle and music, and but we all have like these extracurricular shit that we do.
And who wants sorry, I'm in the motorcycle industry. Who wants to hear us talk every single time? Like you want to hear different shit, like keep it moving, keep it interesting.
And more of a, like the human side too, like
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, yes, we all ride, we all love motorcycles. Whatever it has two wheels for me is like I will honor if that's, you know, you whatever you ride.
Yeah.
But I just want to know, who are you? Like, who are you as a
Yeah, yeah,
person?
yeah,
like,
yeah.
how did you get that? Like,
What was
the
your path?
start?
Yeah,
Yes. How did you get there? Like, the whole thing is like, oh, we're just shooting the shit, and you know, like
Yeah.
getting like to learn from like the old guys. You know, there's always something to learn from somebody. And,
Absolutely.
And we're like, we just sitting there, we're like, blah, blah, blah. Oh, what's your best favorite show? And I'm like, oh, yeah, let's keep talking.
Yeah,
And so,
absolutely.
Like,
It's the cool. That's why these shows are vital and important. You can be online as much as you want and talk to someone and type and do whatever and be cool or fight or whatever. None of that matters.
Yeah.
Real life is what matters. And being
Yes.
somewhere, and it's like me and you could have texted or
Yes.
talked and been like, oh yeah, be a guest on my podcast. I could call you up. But it's a whole different connection than we're sitting here.
I know. Like,
And
I
it's
usually do
different.
them more of like online, and we
Yeah.
talk online. And then like this is one of the first ones that I done in person.
Yeah, it's different.
And now right now I'm like, fuck, I should do this more often. So
Yeah.
like I just moved to this new area, and I have a bigger shop. So I'm gonna I put like a whole area just for the podcast, because you know, people like this, the IRL thing.
Yeah.
It's like everybody can post a fucking picture on Instagram, which is fine. It's a great medium. But to be in person and have these experiences and go for rides
Yeah.
and like play the music and be in a concert, like that's
There's nothing.
nothing.
You can watch a live band on YouTube, or you can go in person, and it's 100% different.
So different.
You can go watch a comedian on Instagram, or go see their show. It's 100% different.
Yeah.
You can look at the 10,000 pictures of all the bikes
Yeah.
that are going to be posted upstairs. But if you're looking at them in person,
Yeah.
it's going to be different. Every picture I've ever taken of a Pan America, I'm like, this fucking sucks. But every time I see one in person, I'm like, this bike fucking rules.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so it's like, it's way different in person, and you got to be there,
Yeah.
or these things are going to crumble because the internet isn't paying nobody's
Yeah.
bills. Like, you know what I
Oh,
mean?
fuck, yeah.
And it isn't,
Well,
it isn't sustaining like real connections.
little
Yeah,
bit.
it is. It is at the end of the day. No, but you know what I
I
mean?
know. No,
Like,
I know.
In these worlds, like, you know what I mean? Like,
But it's different.
good for promotion and
Yes.
stuff, but like the connections, being at something, you become way more
But
real.
I feel like
really
it also
connected to it.
translate into like, it's cool to buy a bike, but it's way fucking cooler to build a bike.
Yeah,
and get
you're
your
more-
hands. Like my hands are hurting right now from metal shaping.
Yeah.
I never like done so much work, and I'm like, but the fuck, like I literally cried yesterday. And I put the last bulb, and I'm like, I did
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
But it's just like I think
Yeah.
like I have more satisfaction.
You're still
than,
young. Give a couple years.
Yeah.
You start getting carpal tunnel surgeries.
Like, do you guys want to get into like a, you know, like a group?
Yeah, everyone that rides behind me laughs because I look like I'm just like this,
Yeah, because,
shaking because
I
my hands are bad from.
I literally like
Pulled in
rode with
grinders.
one of my girls in the back, and I was like, because you know, when you ride it with somebody, it's like different. So I was like holding it, and it was cold, and it was raining. The next day, my arm was like, and I'm like, what the fuck, you know?
Yeah.
I'm all grandma needs like a massage.
Yeah.
Carpal tunnel. What is like, what projects do you have right now on the table at the shop?
At the shop,
Yes.
we have a shovel head chopper that we're finishing. It was just kind of like a rehab. A friend of ours, we just finished a long shovel head stroker chopper that's kind of been making the rounds at shows. We didn't bring it today, but it was at Fuel in Cleveland. We have another shovel head chopper that for my boy Pat that's upstairs.
Nice.
Just a rehab because he bought it. We're going through it and redoing it, making it nicer, making it more dependable and rideable. And then we got a real radical mid 60s style Sportster chopper for my boy Lenny. Lenny Lashley is an artist in Boston. And other than that, we got a lot of like service and repair work. Because it used to be we were strictly chopper builders.
Yeah.
And we just built bikes and shipped them across the world.
Nice.
And the bottom fell out of that
Yeah.
a few years ago.
Well, so
and
like-
you had to get into doing the service and repair.
Yeah.
You have to
make meals.
you got to adapt to the game, you know, if you want to
Yeah.
stay in it. So I hate service and repair. I'll go on the record and say that it's the worst, most ungratifying
Yeah,
thing.
it
But it
is.
keeps the shop doors open
Yes.
for the projects that we want to do.
Exactly.
So that's what you got to do. You know.
Like my sister had a car collision repair, and you know, like the repair part is like what makes
The
like
money,
the
yeah.
money. Collision didn't make like much, but it was like it's a hard work. People are just like, I want everything, you know, for free.
Yeah. But the beauty of
Yes.
motorcycle stuff is that everyone wants to keep changing stuff on their bike. No
Yes.
bike is ever really done. So we help a lot of people out. I like doing that. It's like the mechanical repair stuff sucks because it's like, all right, yeah, we get you back on the road. It's awesome. But when we do something custom for somebody and you see the grin and how stoked they are, even if it's something you don't personally like, it's not your choice, not your thing. It's not your bike, motherfucker. Like, it's theirs. And if they're happy and stoked on it.
But you usually
That's
do you
the
think you have
gratification.
like a hand on the builds and tell them like, okay, we should do this, and people go more towards what you're saying, or
So we used to do that more, and now
it has changed a
the
lot.
business has changed. There, it's like, if you want me to build you a bike, tell me how much money you want to spend.
And
maybe show me a couple things you like, and then I'm going to build you something that's more than what you're paying for. But you're going to just let me do it.
Yeah.
Because I
Just give me the keys and
yes,
go away.
yeah.
And
Well,
then
we've been doing it a long time. We've got to a place where we can kind of do it. I'd rather do less bikes, but keep it more fulfilling to
course.
do than to just keep turning out bikes and that we're not necessarily
Yeah,
into. Because at
because
the end of the day, it's the customer's bike, but it also leaves with our name attached.
I was gonna say that it's your name, and you want to be like, yeah, I did that.
Yeah. Or I'd be like, we'll do this for you, but
Don't tell anybody. Don't tag me.
don't tag me, bro. Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. But nah, we don't. Don't at me. Yeah, don't hashtag. But
So, Carolina, you have a bike at the show.
Yes.
We didn't even talk about this yet.
Oh yes,
Like,
my
you know,
first build ever, and yes.
and how did you start Beyond the Throttle, too? You got your podcast going.
Because I've been going to so many shows, and I've been wanting to talk to more people. Like every time you're like, hi, hello there, and then you're just passing by, and you don't get to talk as much as you want. So it was more of like a little selfish thing because I wanted to talk to my heroes. Right. And be friends with them. And so I've been like reaching out, and everybody's like, yes. So I haven't had anybody say no. So I
haven't met anybody in this scene that's like
everybody wants to
unwilling
help
to,
each
like,
other.
help, yeah.
Like that's another thing. Like I started like 7-8 years ago. I bought that bike, the CL. Brad. I bought Brad like about 10 years ago. He was my first bike that I bought with my money. And because it was a 1970 CL350, and it will be, I was the second owner. It was not registered since 1981. It was sitting in this guy's like backyard and under a tarp, and I just got it from him. And every time I would ride that, it will break, right? So I'm like, oh, I have to fix. And then like I started graduating to like bigger bikes, and now I have sporty. And then I rode like Eagle Rider let me ride like this like heritage class to go to Sturgis and back. But I kept looking at Brad. I'm like, I wanna get him better. Like I wanna.
Brad's a motorcycle.
Oh yeah, Brad's my motorcycle. So I just I wanted to make him like an enduro because I love flat track too. Well, I was trying to get it to flat out and race. Yeah. And I just like didn't make it, but I'm like next year I'm gonna race him there. So that was like the main idea, to have like an enduro-ish kind of thing. So I put like YC. I made it from like a 2 shocks to a monoshock, and it's the YC shocks. So now it's like the CL350 like motor with most of the stuff like with the pipes, and then everything else. A lot of fabricating. I fabricate a lot, like extended like the frame, changed a lot of the seating, the tank. I had to do the whole thing with metal shaping. So it was fucking fun. I want to do that again, again.
You got hooked pretty quick.
Oh, I just want to keep doing it. But I work at some shops in LA. I work at Motor Classic Garage Company, and with Loza Engineer. He works for Roland Sands, and I learned a lot from them. But it was more of like clean this, do that, clean the bathrooms, like running errands, talking to people. I will grind and weld shit, but it's like it was not as involved, because this is just everything. So that was, and my friend Craig Rodsmith, I love you, taught me a lot and guide me, and I would can I do this? Yes, you can. And then I literally a year ago, I was like, I think I want to do this. And he's like, you can. He FaceTimed me to change my alternator 6 months ago, my car. I'm like, can I do that? He's like, yes, you can. And I'm there, on my Jeep, changing the alternator.
It helps having people who push you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, you can do this. You know what I mean? If everyone else can do it, why can't you do it? You know what I mean?
I know, that they believe in you. That they're trying to want you to build also your own. Oh, we're done? Okay.
Set the 5 minute?
5 minute warning? Okay, cool.
But
Hey, get out of here. Get out of here.
Do you have
What
a
are you
bike up? Do you have a bike up?
We didn't bring one this year. Scott said there wasn't enough room for us.
Scott didn't want us to come.
I'm just fucking with him. He was like, you can bring a bike or you can do the podcast.
Pick one.
He's a sadist, a mean guy. I'm just kidding. He's gonna be on. Scott's one of the organizers. He's over there giving us the 5-minute warning.
And if you know him, he's like the sweetest, nicest person. He's not a monster.
The best guy to go drinking with in Milwaukee too, because he'll bring you to the good spots.
Well, thank you so much for having us in your space.
Absolutely.
So anybody that if you're watching, come and see Big Truth.
Yeah, we're gonna be back here at 12:30.
I'm gonna stop by.
There's a whole day of them, so stick around, come in, get drinks, and watch different people talk shit.
Thank you, and thank you so much for stepping up. I owe you a drink, and thank you for having us. Bye.